Discuss the Police Act 2020. Recall that President Muhammadu Buhari recently signed the police bill into law to enhance professionalism in their administration and regulation in the country. The new Police Act 2020, among other things, provides for a more effective and well-organized police force driven by the principles of transparency and accountability in its operations and management of its resources. It also enables and establishes an appropriate funding framework for the police in line with what is obtainable in other federal government key institutions to ensure appropriate funding for all police formations. The Nigerian Police Force Act 2020 is an amendment of the Police Act Cap P19 Laws of the Federation 2004. In principle, it provides for a more effective and well-organized police force driven by the principles of transparency and accountability in its operations and management of its resources. But how will this law translate to effective policing and security of lives and property in Nigeria? That is the key question in all of this. Barrister Munnen.
Very well. I must say that this new Police Act has actually brought in several innovations into the police duties. For instance, the section that says that the policeman must be kitted, must wear uniform, or wear his identity card conspicuously before he can search or stop and search any vehicle or anybody. That is an aspect that is very good, because formerly you used to see some people on the road with some
just black.
Cloth,
I've seen it just black and a face cap and that's it.
You don't even know whether they are armed robbers and all that. You just get but this time around it is specified in the act that you must be kitted, and then if you are not kitted, there must be your own identity card conspicuously displayed before you can be allowed to search or to stop and search anybody. That is one. Two is that there is also an innovation in the area of private investigation. I discovered that you can now have a private investigative outfit, like in some other countries, like in US now or UK and all that. You discover that if somebody has an issue, you will just go and consult a private detective, and the person will do a thorough job. So now a private detective school is going to be established, and the police will now give them the license to and train them and all that. And then some of these policemen, like the senior police officers, the moment they retire, they can go back there and train people and then use them to do work. You know, some of the areas that we always have issues, they are the areas that when a policeman is sent to somewhere, because of the money that is going to change hand, the stories will change. The complainant become an accused person and all that. But once it is a private investigator, there's no way you will bribe the private investigator and then the person will change the disposition and change the story and all that. That is one good aspect that we are going to have. Several other innovations have been brought in, and I want to actually appreciate the lawmakers who brought this out to ensure that there are so many changes in the system that will make the police. Now, there's even this other aspect that is making it very conspicuous. Section 66 that is flying around, that a policeman who is not a lawyer cannot prosecute. Formerly, it used to be any policeman, you just see. In fact, some of the areas, some of the magistrate court is always in the magistrate court. Some of the magistrate court will be surprised what the policemen will do. I was in a court one day, the prosecutor was leading a witness in the witness box, and just told the magistrate, excuse me, I ran out to go and tell another witness what he will say when he comes in to the witness box. I was, what kind of practice is this? It's unprofessional. And so once you bring the policeman that is trained as a lawyer to be the prosecutor. He knows the honors. He knows the right thing to do. He will not misbehave and be cutting corners and all that. He will place the right thing in the right place, and then things will go on very well. There are so many other innovations that are
and I just hope Nigerians, you can go online, just get a summary of this particular law. It will help you as a Nigerian to know your right.
Very well.
One thing I see very, 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 very important, which many Nigerians should know, is the act actually prohibits the arrest of any person in place of a suspect.
Very well.
This has happened several times. Recently, a lawyer had to cry out when a man's son was arrested in place of the son. It happens several times. The policeman gets to the house. The suspect is not there, and you arrest either the wife, the children. Many Nigerians need to really know, know what this act contains. And another beautiful thing about this act is, yes, the act prohibits the police from arresting anyone based on a civil wrong or breach of contract.
Very well.
We see a situation where many Nigerians say, "I will arrest you." You know, it's a thing. It's a thing of pride. Many Nigerians, I will make sure I deal with you. You will go to court. No, things that shouldn't even get to the police station in the first instance. Barrister Shakir Molaji, I allow you have the floor.
You see me smiling? The act that you are lauding, and my friend there is also applauding, is only about 25% of what is expected. So the act is not a success. It promises things that are already should be taken for granted. If the act was going to be relevant and helpful to Nigeria, where it stopped is the issue of lay prosecutors. Do you know how many legal practitioners are turned out from the law schools, Nigerian law schools? Every year, they come out not having employment. Nigerians will be shocked to hear this. There are some lawyers are being paid as low as 15,000 naira a month. A legal practitioner who has gone to school to train, he comes out, and you have the conscience to offer 15,000 naira to a lawyer. And you talk
the villages.
And you talk about charge and bail. Meanwhile, you have a lot of serious criminal cases being lost in the magistrate courts because you have thoroughly incompetent and professional persons pretending to do the work of lawyers, prosecuting. Tell me, how can anybody ever think that a non-lawyer, a man who is not trained in the science of criminology and criminal law, can face a competent lawyer to prosecute a case? It's not done. That's why you have a lot of persons getting away. Because sometimes when I want to be mischievous, when an IPO comes to court as a witness, he charges, for example, an offense of theft. To corner him, I will ask him, this offense you have charged, stealing, what are the elements of the offense? Then, because he does not know, there are elements of offenses that you must prove before you can get a conviction. Then there's something you said, which I will need to react to and help Nigerians. Yes, the act says the police cannot arrest a father for the suspected crime of the son, or the wife for the suspected crime of the husband. That is theory. Nigerians, hear me. When the police come with their game, they have a right, pursuant to what we call first justice rule, the right to suspect everybody in the scene of a crime. The right of suspicion, the pooling. Nobody is innocent until that is the system we practice here. Even though we say constitutionally, every suspect is presumed innocent until the contrary is proved. When you go to Nigerian courts, you are already presumed guilty. From your point of arraignment, the type of bail the magistrates will give you. Something terrible happened recently. Something terrible. I'm giving you a life case. It was a magistrate court. 2 persons were taken to court on an allegation of malicious damage, which is, look, when people tell you bailable offenses, I, with humility, Shakir Omolaja, tell you, Nigerians, tell everybody, all offenses available. But bail will only be granted in some cases by the High Court. Yeah. Either in the High Court or the Magistrate Court, it is at the discretion of the presiding magistrate or the judge, which discretion must be used judicially and judiciously. The case I was referring to, a case of alleged malicious damage, the magistrate very curiously denied bail to the two suspects, which is unheard of. It is, look, there's no logical reason for denying them bail. The magistrate now went further to say that they must take them for COVID-19 test. The complainant said he had no money for the test. The suspects are poor workers who were taken from a site. Who was going to give the money for COVID-19 test? These two suspects stayed at Alagbon for almost a month. I am telling you a live case. So Nigerians, good thing that we have activists who are agitating and saying all sorts of things. The act also says, when you are arrested, and you should have read that to them.
Yes.
You have a right to say, I'm not saying anything.
Yes.
I'm not saying anything until I see my lawyer.
Yes.
I am not going to make any statement until I see my lawyer. Let Nigerians begin to know that such a right is available to them.
Yes.
The act also says, every arresting police officer must today say to the suspect, you have a right to remain silent. Because whatever you say will be used against you. We call it the Miranda rights. But what are we saying here? The Nigerian police, I am sorry, Inspector General, the fantastic police officers that are out there, I have no trust in Nigerian police. Let me repeat, I have no trust in the Nigerian police. I said this act is only 25% of what is expected. Do you know what is expected concerning the Nigerian police? Is to do away entirely with section 214 of the Constitution, which provides that there shall be a Nigeria police force. Simplicity. There shall be for this country a Nigeria police force. Therefore saying only one police force for a country of over 200 million people. So that act is a deception. What lawyers were clamoring for and are still clamoring for is a constitutional provision for state policing, for community policing, for town policing. I don't know whether you are with me. Such that all these our Motekun, vigilante, they are not yet there. Because when they arrest, they do not have the power to prosecute.
All right.
So we need a constitutional provision where the Police Act will say when there are offenses threatening the sovereignty of Nigeria, threatening the security of Nigeria, then we shall have the federal police force being charged with this.
All right.
Then all other offenses, because every offense is local. Any offense that takes place in this country takes place in one community before it is recognized in the state and before it's extends to the. So what we are saying is this. The Police Act has some, not necessarily new provisions that Nigerians will not be aware of. But we are saying we are not yet there. We will be there when the average policeman is an intelligent person, not a school dropout. Somebody who can, on his own, use the computer. Nigerians, please do this survey. Go to our police stations. Whether you still not see police stations where they are using typewriter. I'm not even talking about electronic typewriter. I'm talking about that Olivetti. Olympia. He's an old man, he knows. Typewriter. What can a policeman do with typewriter? The average police station throughout Nigeria does not have fingerprint experts. So when they go to crime scenes, are they able to cut off the place and lift fingerprints? So look, this your Police Act is only noise for people who are not well informed. They should do away with it.
Okay.
Let states promote their own. Look at what Yeson Wike said in an interview when they said, when he protested and we went to court, that the federal government was stealing its money by taking money, so-called security votes, to be given to the police. He said the police is federal government property. Am I the owner of the Nigeria police that you are taking my security money from source? If you want to police my state, let me have my own police that can give the best, the state-of-the-art equipment. Not just walkie-talkie, or communication. Why are you not saying this Police Act, like it happens in America that you want to copy always, or Britain, that they should have their body cam? That wherever they go, they have an automatically activated body camera that records everything. You made an allusion to policemen who are wearing uniforms. In blacks.
Just in black and a face cap, and you see them with guns.
So how do you distinguish between armed robbers? Leave those ones, those who are with their uniforms. Go from Itamaga to Itoki-Jabode and see how Nigeria police, I'm saying this to the entire world, are collecting money openly from motorists.
All right.
They are not even afraid.
So many things to talk about, but I will still insist Nigerians should be familiar with this act. Yes. For example, Section 37 did say a suspect shall be accorded humane treatment, and the suspect shall not be subjected to torture, cruelty, inhumane, or degrading treatment. I know these things still happen, but the onus still lies on people. When your right has been infringed on, do something. Well. Take it up legally. You don't just leave things and let it go.
This Police Act is a step in the right direction.
Of course.
I support the state police, no doubt. But you see, the moment these practices that are normally internationally recognized practices are coded into law, so that if something happens, if a policeman breaches somebody's right, then you can now take the matter up in court, maybe fundamental human right and all that, and claim damages. By the time the court awards damages against policemen here and there and all that because of minor things that they used to do and go scot-free, you will see that they will sit up. And before you know it, the entire system will change. It must start from somewhere. And I believe that this is one of the ways that we are going to reform the police, so that if a policeman walks into a place, I mean, if somebody complains to a policeman that my tenant has refused to move out and he has not paid my rent for this and that, the policeman will say that is not the kind
job
of thing.
Police.
Go to the lawyer to take the matter to court.
Yes.
It is not the duty of the police. But you see, a landlord will go to the policeman. Before now, I don't know whether it will still happen now, because they are expected to be properly tutored, to be properly given orientation, so that they would not continue to behave like the colonial policemen. So a landlord will walk into a police station and say, my tenant has refused to pay and all that. They will say, oh yeah, bring a petition. He will write a petition and say that the man keeps late night and all that. It is the policeman that will tell him what to write. Say that he keeps late night, he does this, he does that. Only because of the... And then they invite the man and now say, now your landlord is saying that you have not been paying your rent. When are you going to vacate? Is that the duty of the police?
Can I add something?
Just in a few seconds.
Yes, in a few seconds.
All right.
I want to say to Nigerians, they have a weapon that they have been using, but they are not using it well enough. Every phone has a camera. When you see a policeman doing what he should not do, for your own sake, do it secretly. Record it. You know, pictures don't lie.
Of course.
And a picture speaks more than 1,000 words. A lot of persons have been dismissed because you have pictorial
evidence,
video evidence. My friend has said human rights go to court. Yes, we have been going to court. We have been having judgments against the police. But does the Attorney General of the Federation, do they respect court judgments against the federal government?
Shakira, our time is spent. Just my advice is to Nigerians: just ensure when your right as a Nigerian, as a citizen, is breached, take it up legally. You have this the laws are there for you. All right, thank you, gentlemen, for coming on the show. It's been an interesting one. My name is Judith Irenwa. Thank you so much for watching. Do join us next Sunday for another exciting edition of Democracy and the Rule of Law. Have a great week ahead.